Nutrition Depot, your fitness fuel.
Okay, so welcome again. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time you guys are listening to us. This is the Nutrition Depot podcast, episode 3. Still with me is Coach Ren and Coach Pau of Centro Fortis and All Out Fitness. And in this episode, third final episode, we'll be talking about the CrossFit in the Philippines when it comes to preparing for competition and the sport aspect. So as we've mentioned in the previous 2 episodes, we did talk about how CrossFit has like a twofold aspect to it. There's the lifestyle aspect, and then you've got the sport aspect. So just think of it like you've got your basketball, right? You've got your weekday pickup with your buddies, with your condo mates, with your village mates, and then you've got the NBA. And I feel like that's the best way for us to distinguish the difference between doing CrossFit as a lifestyle, just getting fit and getting healthy on a daily basis, to a sport aspect where you're elevating yourself to be an athlete. I find so much beauty in that CrossFit can be a sport because of all of its facets. We do weightlifting, we have kettlebell training, we have endurance, we have all gymnastics. We say that with so much
May
emotion.
swimming.
May swim ka ngayon.
Di ba?
Swim and bike.
Yeah, may swim and bike tayo. We have that triathlon training. So that's why as a sport, it's so beautiful because it really feels like when we prepare our athletes or when we prepare as athletes, it's like we're trying to prepare for everything.
Yes.
Yung nga sabi nila sa CrossFit, diba? It's like when you do competitions, it's preparing people for the unknown and the unknowable. So how about we just briefly talk about like your personal experiences as an athlete throughout the years, right? Okay. How has it been preparing yourself for competition, and how has the sport of CrossFit affected you or influenced you in your daily lives? Let's start with you, Coach Pau.
Yeah, for me, I just recently joined a competition a few weeks ago.
And won it. Gold medal. Yeah.
It's a great experience. Yeah. It's actually what Coach Job said, the fun parts of competition. What I really enjoyed is like you train different aspects like weightlifting, your speed, endurance. So like I want to talk about the last competition. For example, merong sled push, merong swim, may run, weighted run.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a trail bike.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Then I had a really good experience, especially since there's like 15 of us in the gym that competed. Then motivated a lot of people to not just to be competitive, but to have fun. Like we have this masters athlete that qualified got really motivated to train for the comp, then lost a lot of weight. So he's an obese guy, but he qualified as masters athlete 40 plus. Then use this competition to parang train 4 times a week, 4 to 5 times a week. So just knowing that it's really fulfilling the part of as a coach and as a gym owner, something you couldn't buy with money, and something that uplifts me and our gym as a whole. So this experiences as a whole is very empowering and it's really nice. So that's why joining competition is not just about winning talaga. Yeah. Well, it's part, but syempre you really want to enjoy it then and have fun.
Yeah. Preparation.
Yeah. How about you, Coach Ren? Your personal experiences with like preparing yourself for competition, the sport in general, and you have a very competitive gym actually, and you guys join a lot of competitions. And you're so as to what Coach Pao was also mentioning, na parang yung it was so much fun because there's 15 of you guys, and there's a whole community that backs that up. Centro Fortis has won 2 of the community awards in the past competitions because you are the most represented. How does that make you feel about your gym, your community in the sport aspect, but also on a personal level? What has it been like for you being a new competitor? Because I know you haven't been competing for long, even if you've been doing CrossFit for a while, and now being an RX athlete as well. So kind of talk us through that.
Well, recently I have So I've been doing CrossFit for quite a while now
Yeah.
again. No? So since 2014, my goal was really for lifestyle.
Yeah.
I have considered CrossFit as my, just my regular daily workout routine.
Yeah.
But recently, I have moved to
Yeah.
the next phase of my athlete life. So I've recently joined competitions and joined the RX division recently. It was because I'd always tell myself, no, kanina, diba, we talked about us in the previous episode that parang there's this misconception that we'll never be ready for something. So I've always had that thinking that I am not ready.
You're right.
I'm not ready to compete. I'm not ready for the RX division. But I know I'll never be ready for it. So I just really have to work for it, and
Yeah.
I have to push myself hard. So recently I've decided to join competitions. It's also my way of encouraging our athletes to compete, to join competitions. Because we've seen us, the coaches in Centro, we've seen the number of athletes wanting to compete when I started competing
Right,
also.
yeah.
And we have a lot of female competitors now because they're so inspired.
Yeah.
They also want to try it out. And it's, I guess, sort of fulfilling for me that I'm able to relay that message that, you guys can do it. And
Yeah.
competition shouldn't be, stressful.
Yeah.
It should be fun.
Fun, yeah.
It should be, kumbaga, it should encourage them to work harder.
Yeah.
And it's not, nerve-wracking and some sort. Diba?
Yeah.
So, yun, it's been fun. Before Centro was more of a lifestyle kind of a box. So we don't really send out a lot of athletes for competitions.
Yeah.
But recently, we've been sending a lot of athletes, and it's nakakilig.
Yeah. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, and I'm really happy.
Yeah.
And I guess it's different once you start wanting to join comps. Your discipline, hard work, nutrition, sleep recovery, lahat yan.
Yeah.
You have to consider. And as a coach also, I have to be able to experience all those so that I can teach it to them.
Yeah.
So it's hard naman to tell them to, guys, you need to recover or you need to
Yeah.
sleep early if I don't sleep early, or it's hard to tell them eat properly if I don't
Yeah.
eat properly. So they have to see that
Yeah.
I do it,
Yeah.
so
yeah.
that they will do it
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
I love the concept, the concept that you guys are kind of like dialing in here, where it's like lead by example, right?
Yeah.
Especially for
Yeah.
you, Coach Ren and Coach Pao, right? And it's just funny, like when I think about it, because it's the reverse for me. It's actually funny that now that in retrospect, I just realized that, believe it or not, I did not like competing or did not want to compete. And my first gym, which is the Bang Box, has been reputed to be one of the most competitive gyms
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
And it's just funny because they were the ones that pushed me to compete. I remember there was a throwdown. So the first few throwdowns that ever came to the Philippines or that was ever organized, I didn't join. I wasn't part of it. I coached them, I trained them for it, I prepared them for it, but I wasn't part of it. And then eventually, they were like, to me, they were like, if you don't compete in this next one, none of us are gonna compete.
Wow.
So baliktad, ako yung natulak.
Nanakot eh, no?
Yeah, so I got
Didn't know
boycotted, and so they pushed me to go to join, and that was one of my first competitions actually. I believe that was 2014. I think that was the Asia Championships na.
Oh, yeah.
And we qualified for the next level, and then next thing you know, we got regionals and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
I've been a competitor all my life in other sports, but the world of CrossFit was just something that I wanted to take a step back in. I was a swimmer for 13 years. I was a rock climber for multiple years. I was in badminton as well for a while. So that it was just kind of the reverse for me now that I think about it. But kind of going back into the idea of like community being your inspiring aspect for competition and sport. I believe that's what sets apart the world of CrossFit and competition. You may come in as an individual or a team,
Yeah.
but I've always felt like in our competitions, it's never been about trying to beat the next person. You could have that, but you could still want the best for that other person. You deal with
Yes.
yourself first. But let's say if you finish ahead of other people, this is the only sport I've ever seen where they're cheering on for the next person.
Yes.
Right? And it's very interesting because that's unanimous to any competition that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
One thing that I wanted to ask you guys about, and this is something that is not commonly talked about in other sports really, is mindset. What do you think is the main difference when it comes to an athlete's mindset and the difference that it may have to a person who does it for just a regular lifestyle? And how do you prepare your own mindset when you're going to be competing? Coach, and let's start with you.
When I compete, I just really want to beat myself. I just want to be able to surpass what I do inside the gym and that day on the competition. So that's really my goal. And I guess that's what I also want to encourage our other athletes to do. Because once you start putting in your head that you want to beat someone, you'd forget everything that you've worked hard for inside the gym. And it's your only competition is yourself. Diba nga?
Yeah.
So yeah. And I like that. Kanina you mentioned about us supporting other athletes.
Yeah.
No. So I've experienced that so many times when I'm lagging behind during the workouts. You'd see those athletes that are done with their workout, they'd go in front of you or beside you and they just cheer on you. And that's what I really love about competitions here.
Yeah.
Very
And it's funny
supportive.
because like other communities won't boo the other
they
athletes.
won't. Instead,
Diba,
they
parang
will
if you
cheer.
you go to the NBA or basketball,
Yeah.
parang if it's not your team, kaaway yan. You
Yeah.
distract them during the free throw. No, here it's like they're cheering on for whoever's doing
Everyone,
really
yeah.
well. Diba? Parang yun
Especially
yung
the
nakakatawa
last
eh.
person there.
Yeah, especially
on
the
the
last
floor.
person. Yeah. How about you, Coach Pao, when it comes to mindset for yourself and for your athletes?
Yeah. So I guess for myself, tagging myself as
All out.
All out, yeah.
But funny part is I really enjoy. I just enjoy the competition. For the most, syempre I go all out to have this to our athletes or other people see me that I exert so much effort to
Win.
to beat myself actually.
Yeah.
Or because I have this mindset na to beat myself and be a better person talaga. And not just in the competition. I believe that if I beat myself in the competition, I'll be a better person. And funny part is yung mental health ko when I compete. I become more happy talaga
Good. Yeah.
for doing the competition. Maybe because there's a lot of people, I get to know more people. So,
You vibe off of their energy.
yung vibe ng energy and training with our athletes, joining the
Yeah.
competition, that's one of the most fun part.
Yeah.
So, I think preparing for the competition with our athletes is one of the things that motivate me.
Priceless, no? Priceless.
Yeah, vices and lives. Well,
Yeah.
could be a lifestyle then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What motivates me is seeing people in pain. Yan yung gusto ko. joke. Yeah.
Nice
no, but
motivation.
no. On a more,
Must see you in pain.
yeah. On a more serious note, I feel like mindset is so important for athletes in the sport, is because it's the one thing that you can really and thoroughly control apart from your effort, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's in training or on the day itself, you have full control over how you're looking at the situation and how that affects you. Offline, we were talking earlier about what competitions are and what it means for athletes, right? And what it means for people who take it as a sport. And we were talking about how this is a great checkpoint for athletes to keep their journey, keep their fitness journey at a level that they can maintain. Because can you imagine if there was no competition and I want to be an athlete, what am I preparing for? Why am I pushing myself so hard on a daily basis? So I feel that there's that great concept that a competition is something that you prepare for. You mentioned earlier about your masters athlete who lost so much weight and in the 40s and still going at it. There's that value of like, hey, I want to challenge myself.
Yeah.
And now that there's this competition, I will go through a preparation phase for it. So it's like that checkpoint in their journey that motivates them to do well here, and then their morals are really high. The morale is really high for them. They come into the following week. If there's no competition coming up, at least they're inspired to
Yeah.
keep going. And then they also take the competitions as a learning
Yes.
experience for themselves. So I wanted to ask you guys, what would you say that competing in CrossFit is something that you encourage for everyone in your gym, including those who come in to just do it as a lifestyle? Or do you feel like it's only for athletes who want to achieve something as a sport or as an athlete?
Ako, I'd like to encourage our members. Actually, since somehow we know the schedules of the events for next year,
Yeah.
we're sort of like mentally preparing them to, to work harder, to train harder, or come in more often to the gym for the comps next year.
Yeah.
Because at some point in their life, they have, as a CrossFitter, they have to experience competing. That's the only time that they'd get to see what are my weaknesses are, what are my strengths,
Yeah.
what do I have to work on, diba? And ako, wala pa ako nakita, in Centro, wala pa ako nakita na nag-compete that they stopped. They stopped going to the gym. After competition, regardless of winning or not winning, they'd come back and they'd be more inspired to
That's
train.
it, yeah. I feel like pressure is good, right? There's that concept of like iron sharpens iron, and then
Yeah.
there's that idea of like,
Yes.
yung parang diamonds are not developed without
Yes,
pressure, right? So I
yeah.
feel like some external pressure is pretty good too, regardless of your preference, diba? Parang
Yeah.
there's that, we were talking about it in the previous episode na CrossFit can be for everyone, but
Yeah.
it isn't for everyone.
Yeah.
And then competition can be for everyone also, but it isn't for everyone. So to your point, I feel like it's great to encourage everyone to try it at
Yes.
least once,
least once.
just
At
to
least
give
one.
themselves that challenge, to give them something to work for. And if it's not for you, then that's okay. But at least you know how it feels like and what it feels like to prepare for something.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
a value that you like using this is a value that you can't buy. It's
Yeah.
a value that you can't pay for. That
Yeah.
kahit na may registration fee.
Yeah.
pero
the
you
experience.
get what I mean.
Experience.
You get what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Pao?
Yeah.
Like, would you say for your box that it's something that you encourage your members?
Yeah, well, during my first 4 years as a box owner, I always be an example that I will join
Yeah.
competitions at the same time coach our athletes then joining it.
Yeah.
I encourage them then to join, but I don't push everyone to join. Depends on their mindset. I like the idea na they have to join at least once to experience if they're happy for them. But in my experience, like most of our athletes or members na nag-join, all of them had fun at
Yeah.
Yeah.
one point. Like the competition, the vibe. It's a matter of how they handle it then. Kasi yung second comp minsan, or third comp or fourth comp, the challenge is how for them not to get burned out then.
Yeah.
Or stressed.
Yeah.
So I guess it's for us coaches to check on them
yeah.
and balance. So I guess competing is very fun, and I guess a lot of people who competed, on my experience, are happy.
Yeah.
You mentioned about yung burnout or stress
Yeah.
about when you join like consecutive competitions. Recently, I've been receiving comments. Di ka ba napapagod? I think if you like something, if you like doing something, hindi ka talaga mapapagod. You'll enjoy every moment of it.
Yeah.
Well, pwede ba off record? The joke.
No.
Hindi ma-enjoy yung others. Hindi, no, as a coach, and as an athlete as well.
As a mom.
May as an athlete and as a coach, may mga moments during competitions that I get heartbroken.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't able to do this well, or I wasn't able to finish the workout. But it depends on how you handle the situation. And you can't, as a coach, I can't show my athletes that I am heartbroken or I am not dealing with the loss, diba? Na,
Yeah.
parang I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
I have to show
Show
them.
face, yeah.
Hindi naman show face because I really enjoy it. I really love competing now. But it's really how you show them, diba? That, even if you lose or even if you don't finish the workout, as long as you're better than how you were yesterday or last week, that matters a lot, diba? So as coaches, when we go there as athletes on the WOD floor, we have to show them also that we're
Yeah.
enjoying it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they will be scared
Yeah.
to join competitions.
Yeah. And I feel like there's so much value also in being wrong about something and failing at something, because that's
Yeah.
really how you really learn and you kind of improve on.
Yeah.
So on a personal level also, that it's one of the stories that I like telling people, because it kind of gives you a perspective on how my brain works or how my persona works. And this is also, I mean, between the three of us, I'm the only retired athlete really.
You're
but
not retired.
I am retired. I'm happily
You're
retired.
competing sa all-out games.
I did not even know that I was competing in the Olympic Games. But the quick story there is, my first competition was actually Brunei. So there was Beast of the Southeast. There were 34 athletes, and I finished at 33rd. So I was second to the last. And being a competitor in swimming for 13 years and being part of the training team, I was varsity badminton, varsity basketball. I had experienced being relatively good at sports. And then I got into CrossFit thinking that I had the stuff. And I remember just running on the beach. There was a beach run event with kettlebell throws and stuff, and just being overlapped by everyone and anyone. And it felt like crap, like we were a big conglomerate of Filipinos, and I was the last placer, second to the last place. And the only reason I was second to the last place is because the last placer didn't even compete on the second day, because a
Yeah.
teacher siya and he had a shift, or he had class, he had work the next day. So basically I was last. And that really put a mindset on me na parang, okay, there's really a part of me that's super competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't be that. So my redemption run was the year after, where I competed in Beast of the Southeast again, still in Brunei, and now with bigger names. So in the first year, it was Tanner Shuck who was the champion, and he was probably the only Caucasian at the time. But in year two, imagine John Britton, and Haynes, a couple of
Yeah.
New Zealanders and Australians. But I finished second place. And I remember that was sort of like my turning point as to, I can actually be good at this sport.
Yeah.
And if I had not failed, if I had not exposed myself to this opportunity to do it
Yes.
again or try it again, I would not have known that I could be competent in
Yeah.
something. I'm not just talking about CrossFit, I'm talking about something. And I feel like this is a lesson that people can learn, that they can apply to other things if they expose themselves, or if they give themselves a chance for competing in
Yes.
CrossFit,
Yes.
right? So, also, we were talking offline earlier about how the Philippines is one of the largest competing, what do you call it, scenes
Yeah.
in Southeast
Now,
Asia. Now, yeah.
yes.
So this year alone, we've had what? 4 competitions, 5 competitions?
6, I think.
Maybe 6, I don't
Yeah.
even know. And we have easily 3 or 4 more lined up in the
Yes.
coming years. And we were talking about how, like, hopefully by the next few years, we'll start organizing a little bit
Yes.
more so that there's a schedule. But it's great to see that, because the Filipinos obviously love the competitions.
Yeah.
We love seeing each other. And it's really causing that tight-knit community, not just in Manila or Luzon, but the Visayas
Yes.
region and the Mindanao regions, they've been flying in for that as well,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Yes.
Since I just had a competition in Visayas, right? We'll start with Coach Pao. Feel free to let's go ahead and talk about your upcoming competition.
Yeah, so our upcoming competition, All Out Games. So it's actually this August 5 and 6, 2 days. So in this competition, we actually had one last year, a smaller one. So yung objective talaga namin is to like unite again the South people,
The South
to
also,
compete, and to have a good, better community
Yeah.
between us, like friendship
South,
and
yeah.
everything, because there wasn't any competition, a lot of competition after pandemic, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's basically to motivate other
Yeah.
people and inspire.
Yeah.
So we saw that na, uy, okay, ang daming pumunta. We had
Yeah.
fun. So Coach Ren was
was
there.
fun. That
Thank
was
you for supporting. Yeah. Then after that, we planned for this bigger one. So we were really planning like really 9 months even before the small comp. So we already had a plan. So for me naman, organizing this is not about like money then.
Yeah.
So we wanted to like give value or make other people enjoy the competition and have higher standards
Yes. Yes.
and to unite like
Yeah.
what Coach Job said.
Yeah.
Like we got people from Davao coming in,
Yeah.
we got people from
Cebu.
Cebu, Iloilo, that na shock kami.
Yeah.
Then yeah, our target is actually like 400 athletes
Wow.
to qualify, but we got like almost 600.
Yeah.
So I got really shocked and really
That's awesome.
we're really happy na a lot of people are coming back, even like some people, OG people from Philippines na magko-compete ulit
Yeah.
like Mika, Coach Mika Conde and the other guys.
Yeah.
So yun, August 5 and 6, our objective is to really make them have fun, the competitors. And coming from myself na I enjoyed the competitions, like almost all of from our team leads
Yeah.
are like passionate about it, organizing. Even we have coach head judge Sunny to have our judge para the standards are really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So to level up the competition. So I hope this will be really fun for everyone.
I feel like it's
Every
great to
competitions.
see it from a perspective that the local competitions have not just felt like they're just competitions where we're awarding for second, third place.
Yeah.
But it has really felt a lot like it's a celebration of fitness.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like we're celebrating the work of the individuals and or teams that have been preparing themselves for competition. So it's like a festival of
Yes.
sorts, right? Yeah. But let me just quick answer, yes or no answer, like one or two answer. What do you guys prefer? Do you prefer individual or team competition?
I like teams.
You like teams.
Yeah.
And how about you, Coach Pao?
Ako 50-50
50-50.
Depends on my mood. Pero siguro I like more on the team side na lang siguro.
Yeah.
It's fun, you know?
Yeah, I feel like team side has always been more reputed to be more fun.
Yeah.
Right? There's that fun aspect because you're working with your friends, you're working with other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And that's the essence of CrossFit. It's the community aspect.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's more beauty in the team competition for the fun aspect. But
Yeah.
if you're talking about like individual challenges,
Yes.
there's that individual competition that's still for you. And I remember you guys were saying earlier na parang, oh, it's fun. It's fun to win, that's for sure. But I remember there was a time when I was still running my DSP program, my Dirty South Project program, and I had a lot of competitors just like talking to me about their goals, and I wanted to tell them that, all right, listen, your goal is to be the best in the Philippines. I want you to understand that you're not supposed to have fun.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a fun process because your goal is so specific. If your goal was just to do well, then we're going to have fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so much to manage when it comes to individuals, when it comes to athletes, because their perspective and expectations is always something that we need to reiterate. We need to have them understand that not everybody is a full-time athlete. You don't get
Yes.
paid to train.
Yes.
Right? We have day jobs. And so there's so much beauty in recognizing that and
Yeah.
then guiding them along the way. Yeah. So I guess just to kind of close up the episode, I'd like to ask you guys for similar to what I asked in the previous one. What would be your advice to athletes out there currently when it comes, because you have your fair share of experience competing, or athletes to be with regards to CrossFit in the Philippines, the local competitions for themselves, for anything. Let's start with you, Coach Pao.
Well, for me is actually we always say to have fun, right? But it depends on the athlete's mindset then eh. So for me, my advice for like the people joining comps is, to enjoy the process, to train. It's better to train with someone.
Yeah.
So that has more experience siguro. So that way he or she can guide the athlete preparing for a comp. para, during the warm-up and everything, going into the comp, mindset training. So, that's why teams are actually really better for me if they're joining. Kasi
Yeah.
individual is more pressure unless siguro this athlete is more competitive.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it depends on the coaches then how you train. For us, in All Out, basically, we have a group na
Home train group.
somewhat like that, comp trait. Pero we always check on everyone. Like, the coaches check on everyone, how they feel. Kasi most of them, like, during our first comp, like for me, kasi I'm excited. At the same time, pressure din. Pero most members or athletes aren't really athletes. So, most of them are pressured, overthink usually.
Yeah.
So, for us, we have to check on them. Like, check on them from time to time.
Yeah.
Show them na it's okay. Just, we're gonna have fun and just enjoy the process, and it's like just working out at the gym.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
How about you,
Well,
Coach
to
Ron?
end this episode, Coach Job and Coach Pao, I guess for
If you can also talk about like for female competitors.
Oh, yeah. Okay. First for new CrossFitters, at some point in their life, they will have to try joining a competition. It's one way of testing the hard work that you put into every day inside the gym. For CrossFitters who are not so new, like me when I decided to join competitions, you really have to try it out. And you'll never be prepared for it. I mean, you just go. You just go and you'd see what you'd have to work on afterwards. And for female competitors, you'll be surprised with what you can do when you're there. So sometimes I don't know why, but most female athletes are, parang we get more stressed when, siguro it's the hormones and
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the joy of being there with other female athletes, it's just priceless.
Yeah.
And at some point in their life, they really have to be able to experience that.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised.
And I feel like it's such an empowering thing to see
Yes.
women competing as
Women
well.
competing, women supporting other
Yeah.
Yeah.
athletes
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my advice actually would be for the athletes is that if you're not puking, you're not doing it right. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, that's I just literally loopholed myself to like the wrong thing, right? But they pretty much said already everything. But I'll try to keep it a little bit more objective. I'd say first thing is really have expectations. When you start to tell yourself that you want to compete, that you want to do this as a sport, have expectations for yourself based off of what you currently have. Do you have a day job? Do you have a family? Do you have dogs that you care about, etc., etc.? And then go from there. That's your jump off point. Second, and actually very important, is find your tribe. So you're mentioning how this is not done alone. Find your tribe, find a community that can really support you, because that's where the nice parts of the competing is. And more importantly also is make sure that you have a coach, somebody who guides you through what you're doing. And I promise you, just by having those two things alone, the value and importance of what you do as a competitor, as a sport, skyrockets.
Yes.
And third and finally, throughout this whole journey and process of actually preparing for competition and actually competing, you keep saying enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. My advice is actually be present, be in the present, because as days go by, weeks go by, and months go by, and eventually years go by, everything that you do will just become a distant memory. And if you were not present then you would not be able to appreciate what you were working for and how hard you were working for it. Celebrate what your body is doing and what it is capable of doing with it on a daily basis, not just on the day of the competition. Analyze and just don't leave it to a time when you look back and it's too far for you to celebrate, because then and only then do you experience the not necessarily regrets, but I wish I was in the moment more. I wish I celebrated myself more then.
Yes.
Because you're working hard. And if no one has been telling you that enough, we're the ones telling you that now. And you need to celebrate that every day so that your journey is just as valuable and you see it on a daily, not just
Yeah.
when it's too late, basically. And I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening to us jabbering
you.
about.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Pau.
Thank
This
you.
was
Thank
fun.
you.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank
Coach
you.
Ren, for joining
really
us, and
fun.
thank you, Nutrition Depot, of course, for
Yes,
giving us
thank
this
you.
platform
Thank you,
Thank you
Nutrition
so
to
much.
talk nonstop about
That's
something that we're all very passionate about.
Yes.
This has been Coach Pau, Coach Ren, and Coach Job for the Nutrition Depot podcast, CrossFit in the Philippines, episode 3, preparing for competition and sport.
Thank
See you
you.
next
Thank
time.
you. See you.